In his first 9 weeks in office, President Obama has made it clear that he intends to use the same media savvy he was famous for as a candidate to advance his policy agenda as president. And lately, he has been everywhere. Today, the Obama is everywhere list got even longer. More than 90,000 people submitted questions for an online presidential town hall today. More than 3 million people voted on what questions they wanted him to answer. After that, Mr. Obama landed himself on Univision through a taped bilingual speech, which was played during an awards show.
So enjoy the show. Y para los nominados, que se preguntan si esta será su noche, les digo si se puede.
First Farsi, now Spanish. The dude is everywhere, and he's even there in the native languages. Now, to assess the political impact here, it is only fair to also look at how the president's prospective rivals are competing with his multilingual, multi-platform, well-lit, pitch-perfect, talk-to-the-men-on-the-moon strategy. Here, for example, is vice presidential nominee and Alaska Governor Sarah Palin, starring in a handy-cammy YouTubed speech she gave last week for her state's Republican Party. The state party just posted the video online. Here she is describing the scene before her big vice presidential debate.
So I'm looking around for somebody to pray with. I just think maybe that'll help. I need a little bit extra. Well, and the McCain campaign, love him, and a lot of people around me, but nobody that I could find that I wanted to hold hands with and pray.
The McCain campaign, unable to meet the vice presidential nominee's prayer needs. News. In totally unrelated news, did you see today that the McCain-Palin campaign manager, Steve Schmidt, just came out in favor of gay marriage? Just like McCain's daughter, Meghan? Yeah, he said he voted against Prop 8 in California on Election Day. But I digress. Would-have-been Vice President Palin also made clear that she thinks that she was not treated fairly during the campaign by the media.
There was an unprecedented level of media slants, media involved with this go-around. Unless things change, and the GOP had really better can stand together, because we've got that on our battlefield also.
So in terms of the competition here, there is Obama, president of all media, Palin, governor of no media, and then there's also Michael Steele, who I think of as the chairman of Punk the Media.
I'm very introspective about things. I'm a cause and effect kind of guy. So if I do something, there's a reason for it. Even it may look like a mistake, a gaffe. There's a rationale, there's a logic behind it.
Even with the current events and news, there's a rationale behind Rush, all of that stuff.
Yep.
You want to share with us?
Sure. I want to see what the landscape looks like. I want to see who yells the loudest. I want to know who says they're with me but really isn't.
How does that help you?
It helps me understand my position on the chessboard. It helps me understand, you know, where the enemy camp is and where those who are inside the tent are.
It's all strategic.
It's all strategic.
You see, on the landscape, there's the yelling into the chessboard, upon which is a tent for the enemy camp. Master plan! Joining us now, Anna Marie Cox, national correspondent for Air America and columnist for the Daily Beast. Anna Marie, thank you for coming on the show.
Always good to be here.
Is Michael Steele punking us right now? Am I falling victim to his wily, on-purpose media trap right now?
It's a trap if he I guess it's a trap to make us think he has a plan. I was thinking to add to the many metaphors that you have sort of unearthed from his little speech, that it's sort of like setting yourself on fire because you need to see better. Like it's that kind of strategy, I guess. I don't really understand it, and I also don't understand it because all those so-called gaffes, I actually was like, I kind of liked him. You know, the stuff he said in the GQ article about people not being able to change the fact they're gay, about abortion being an individual choice. I thought, okay, well, this is someone who actually would be a good leader for the Republican Party, who's saying things the Republican Party needs to hear. I thought those were gaffes in the classic Washington sense, that he was saying something, he was accidentally telling the truth. But it turns out he didn't mean that stuff either. So the stuff that I sort of liked, he didn't mean at all, and now what does he mean? I don't know. I'm very confused. I don't want to drag us further into the the sort of whirlpool, but
it does seem like that it is an interesting strategy to imply that everything that you have been doing thus far is part of a strategy, because then you could at least convince your opponent that you can bamboozle them at any moment just through the sheer complexity of your thinking. maybe?
I am confused if that was his goal. Like, I admit total confusion. But also now I don't know if I should believe anything he says. Apparently it's all part of a pre-planned strategy.
Yeah.
Whereas Sarah Palin, I have to say, I don't think she's following any particular strategy. She seems to, and also, I didn't know I know the Alaska Republican Party was small, but is it true they meet at the bottom of a well? I didn't see the video, but from the way it sounded, it was really like,
we
kind of lonely.
We put subtitles on it so that you could tell. It was just, that's part of the amazing contrast here, just thinking about Democrats and Republicans in the country right now, and who are the big recognizable, household names. That you've got Barack Obama literally speaking in Farsi in Iran and in Spanish on Univision, and having 3 million people vote for his online chat. And then you've got the Alaska Republican Party posting a handy cam video of Sarah Palin complaining about the media. And those are sort of like the two biggest names in politics.
That's right. I thought it was like a cell phone video or something. Yeah, I didn't really understand that. I also say to get to what there was of substance to what Sarah Palin was saying, I frankly don't believe her that she couldn't find anyone to pray with on the McCain campaign. Because believe me, towards the end, there was a lot of praying. There was a lot of praying.
You were on the campaign trail for a significant portion of the campaign, and she's essentially describing almost a culture clash between her and the McCain people, this idea that they didn't have enough overtly religious people around at any one time to meet her prayer needs. I mean, it's a strange tale to tell other Republicans about the campaign, but do you think but there's any chance in which that's true?
I think that's not true. I have no personal recollection that would give that any support whatsoever. In fact, I know a couple of very senior McCain advisors are evangelical Christians, and I also know that I've heard from a few staffers recently, today, as a matter of fact, that said they're personally offended by her saying this. It's not as though like she was alone. I think that if she wanted to pray, again, divine intervention was the only thing that was going to really work for them if they really wanted to win. So I think there was probably support for prayer. It's true that McCain himself is not a very overtly religious person, but I think that's just a slap in the face for her to say that about the people that she was supposedly working very hard to help elect.
In terms of the people that you know from the campaign, too, let me also ask your reaction to this interview that Steve Schmidt did with the Washington Blade, where he came out in support of gay marriage. Him holding that view isn't necessarily surprising. I don't think I thought that I knew anything about his personal political views, but it is an interesting move for him to have decided to do this interview with a gay paper and to come out on this policy issue in this way.
Well, actually, immediately after the election, I did an interview with him where he talked about his support for gay marriage. And his sister is gay, actually, and lives in California. And so he feels he lives in California. He feels very attached to this issue. I do think it's interesting, Republican consultants, win or lose, can go out and make a lot of money if they want to, give a lot of speeches. It's interesting, Steve Schmidt has chosen to spend whatever political capital he gained from running the McCain campaign, which maybe it wasn't a lot, but he has some, and he's chosen to spend it on this particular issue. And his first big public appearance after the campaign is going to be at the Log Cabin Republicans convention here in Washington next month. I think it shows how strongly he feels about this issue, and I hope that it means something good for the Republican Party.
Anna Marie Cox, national correspondent for Air America, columnist for the Daily Beast. Great to have your insight. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you, Rachel.